Okay, so we're going up over the buttoning up of an enrollment. So where we're at in the process is after you get done enrolling, you've seen all the employees, okay? This is a sit down meeting with the bookkeeper, okay? So sometimes it's the business owner, if they do the payroll, it's whoever does payroll, okay? And we're in the business of repeating myself, so I'm gonna repeat that one more time. This, after you get done enrolling, you've enrolled the last person, this is a sit-down meeting with the person who's gonna enter in the deductions. So it could be the business owner, it could be somebody, just an employee there, you know, the HR director or whatever, whoever is going to enter in those deductions, that's who this meeting is for, okay? And we're just gonna talk about a new enrollment. Let's say this is a new closed case. So you're gonna need 3 things for this meeting. So if you wanna bullet point, write this down. The first thing is this what comes next form. The second thing is the client feedback form, okay? And then the third thing is this blue binder that everybody who closes a case is gonna have a blue binder. And Amanda A does a very good job when these are delivered. She'll email you guys saying your blue book is ready to go. Okay. In the blue binder, because again, this is a new closed case, what you want to have in it is the yellow copies of the payroll authorizations. Okay. So it's just the yellow copy. So if you look at a payroll authorization, you have the pink copy goes to the employee, yellow copy goes to the business, the payroll lady in this blue binder, the white copy we keep, okay? So yeah, the yellow copy goes, and right at the bottom it says Canary, I guess this is Canary, not yellow, people. It says Canary is the employer, okay?
Okay.
So you just tear it off. You know, I usually just, stack them really nice and neat, fold them in half, and then just stick them in the back pocket, okay, of this binder, just so they have the physical copies, okay? But remember what we said is when you make that deduction spreadsheet and you send that email, even if you put those yellow copies in this blue binder, guys, I want you to scan, Genius Scan or Turbo Scan those payroll authorizations. And in that email, when you send off that deduction spreadsheet, you should also have a PDF of the signed payroll authorizations. Not to go into left field on a tangent, but I will say this has saved me many times with employees. Let me give you just a good example popped in my head. There was a gentleman from one of my franchises, and he enrolled a bunch of business, like life insurance for himself, his wife, all his kids, cancer, a whole bunch. So his deductions were, he had a very large deduction, but he had health issues. So I signed him up for ALX. Like he had an ALX policy. This was back in 2019. Last year we went to open enrollment. He couldn't remember what company he originally set that up with. And it was us. And he goes, I don't think I ever signed anything even saying that this is okay to take this much out of my paycheck. And I'm like, well, no, we have you sign, a signed payroll authorization. So all I had to do was go into my email and Google deduction spreadsheet and payroll authorizations for that franchise. It popped up, and lo and behold, because I did this correctly, not only did I have that deduction spreadsheet, but I had his signed physical copy. I scrolled to his name. I could show him, hey, see, this is your signature, right? So, and then he was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, I think I remember that. But just, it saves you, the weirdest scenarios of people are like, why is $17.87 coming out of my paycheck? I never authorized this coming out of my paycheck. Let's just say, this could happen. You have their signed documents. So that's, you want to take that stuff seriously, and there's going to be times where you send it off and perfectly fine. Nobody, but that 1 or 2 times where somebody's like questioning you on that you just signed them up for stuff and it wasn't authorized, you can pull it up that you have a signature. Also, those of you guys that do a lot of virtually enrolling, you want to make sure you get that Doc Hub electronic signature. Same thing. You just never want something to come back being like you signed them up for stuff they didn't even, physically sign. So anyways, all deduction spreadsheet emails, make sure you have this spreadsheet and then those signed payroll authorizations, okay? So again, enrolling's done. You've got your 3 things. So we're gonna go over this conversation with the payroll lady, okay? A huge part of what we do, guys, is your personality. We want you to be you, and you want to create that likability and trust, okay? And I want to emphasize this, we're talking about a new case, but this really pertains to re-enrollments, okay? Even if you are running an enrollment that you didn't physically, personally close, it's your job to really, really create a very, very good relationship with that franchise. And so you want to have, like, literally make a significant effort for that business owner and the payroll lady. You want them to like you. You want them to enjoy the fact that you come into their business, that you're doing open enrollment. You don't want it to be a hassle. And I just use this as an example, especially for re-enrollments, because as you guys progress in your, careers and you're dealing with accounts, whether they're mine, the house accounts, Derek's, Terry's, whoever's, okay? It's your job to help make that relationship better. And so when you go to an account and you're a new representative, sometimes they're going to be, arms crossed and a little bit cold. You have no relationship with them. Don't feed off of their energy ever. Okay. Never, ever, ever. Like, it shouldn't come where I'm like, oh, how'd your enrollment go? Oh, it was weird. They were really super standoffish. That should never be the conversation. Now, will they be like that sometimes? Absolutely. Have I dealt with that a lot? Absolutely. Like, when Tony took over this agency, we took over a bunch of accounts from past relationships. And the reason that agency owner is no longer the agency owner here is because he did not do a good job with those accounts. So obviously there was tons of damage control, right? So we came in, when you go to that enrollment, you've got to rebuild that relationship. So, but it's not just the business owner, it's your payroll person, it's the secretary, it's your gatekeeper. Everybody should, from that first time that you're running that enrollment, be like, oh, if Danielle comes back, like, oh, we loved when Danielle was here. Okay. So don't feed off of their energy. You create that atmosphere. Okay. And how you do it is just, just like you do with any other business. You walk in, what's the first thing that we do? What's the first thing we do? Build rapport. Okay. So you want to do that with, as soon as you walk in, like, hey, how are you guys doing? Happy Friday. Or how's your morning going so far? Like, oh, are these your grandkids? And if you go into the business owner's office, be like, wow, you have a really nice office. It's nice. You have windows. So you're a golfer. Oh, you like to fish, or, oh my gosh, you like to hunt, or you look like a Cardinals fan, or you look like a Blues fan, or whatever. Okay. Whatever you can build rapport, just help make it a nice, a really nice atmosphere that you're there. Okay. Same thing with the payroll lady. So this is, again, a sit down meeting. Okay. Enrollment's over. You're going to meet with them, build rapport. Be like, oh, wow. And I always like to compliment the business, like, you guys have a really good group here. Now, obviously that's got to be honest, right? Sometimes you can tell things are a little off, but whatever you can compliment the business, you got a really good staff. Like, and then I try to talk about little things that I learned about the employees. Like, oh, it's so cool that James and Jonathan are brothers, and like, you have cousins that work here, and a lot of like husband and wife's work here, or whatever, again, that you can create that likability. Sit there and talk to that payroll person. And then what I always like to establish is that, hey, like, my job's here. Like, what I want to meet with you about is, from here on out, my job is to make your job as easy as possible. So if you want to write that down, they're going to like you for that. Okay. Because a lot of payroll people think that this entering in deductions is more work for them. Right. But that's that's their job, right? If you're a payroll person, you're supposed to do payroll stuff, right? So, but we want to make their job easier. Anytime that there's again, this goes back to re-enrollments, like, if there's a bad attitude, stand up, like, and if it's really super directed, just ask them. Be like, what, if you don't mind me asking, was there a problem, like, with past representatives that have been here in the past? Like, my job is to make your job as easy as possible. I want to make that better for you. Like, did something happen? And then they'll sit there and they'll tell you what happened. And then guess what we can do? We can try to fix it. right? Versus like just leaving it. And if it's that elephant in the room, that weird energy where like you can't get anywhere, you can fix that. Okay. So, or if you ever feel that with your new cases, just put that out there, but that's our job to do that. Okay. So again, that transition line is like, hey, I just wanted to meet with you because this went really well today. The employees were super appreciative of the benefits that we were able to provide for them. We had really high participation. A lot of the employees saw a lot of value in this, kind of give them a recap of how great it went. And then, and then again, that transition line is, okay, so what I wanted to meet with you about is my job is to make your job as easy as possible. So I'm going to go over this form here. It's called What Comes Next. And I always point to the corner that says what comes next. And basically, when I leave here, this is what to expect next. Because they're going to wonder that, right? Now, whose job is to administrate that? Hers? No, it's our job. It's our job to lay out what the expectations. And this is what I want you guys to write down with the What Comes Next form is you're meeting with them, giving her clear expectations of what to expect from you as a representative. So if you enroll all the employees, okay, thanks, Sally, see you later. Does she know what to expect? No. So then you email her a deduction spreadsheet. She has no idea what to do with it. It's got to be a verbal conversation. And if you have this meeting, guys, again, the whole purpose is to have high quality, high persistency. And you'll do that if they actually make the deductions and they actually send it to Liberty National. Okay. So let's go over this form. So again, my job is to make your job as easy as possible. So I'm just going to go over this form. It's called the What Comes Next form because literally it's just what to expect next after I leave here. The first thing is, and then you guys just kind of read it, to be honest. If you don't know where to go from here, you start at the top, you just read the form, okay? So the first thing is deductions will begin that first pay period in whatever month, okay? So let me give you guys scenarios. Let's say this is the month of April. Open enrollment is the month of April. When do deductions start? May. So you would write May there, okay? Let's say open enrollment is May 15th through the end, or excuse me, May 15th through the end of June. When do deductions start? July. So pretty easy, right? So then you write in July, okay? So deductions start in July, which would mean your first bill will be due August, okay? So it's just easy, the next month, right? August 1st. And then the plan year, what this means is employees are going to be locked in, because this is section 125, into their benefits for the entire year. Let's say somebody cancels open enrollment, that plan year ends, okay? It's the day before that July 1st. So if July 1st is the bill, so it would be June 30th. Okay, so that employee, if they want to cancel, we might do open enrollment in May, but we're not going to actually stop those deductions until June. So it won't be until July 1st. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's the purpose of the plan year, but it's 1 day less than the bill due date. Okay, 1 day less than the bill due date. So let me do one more scenario. This is the month of May is open enrollment. When do deductions start? When did the bill start? When does the plan year end? Got it. Okay, pretty simple. So you just write that in and then just cover it. And to be honest, the plan year, like when the plan year ends, isn't that big of a deal. I mean, I went over it in detail with you guys. I don't really do that with the payroll lady. The main two is these first two things, okay? Now I want you to write this next part down because the whole purpose of this is to have good quality, right? Good persistency. So if I say, okay, deductions will begin the first pay period. This is open enrollment in May, so June. Okay, I'm writing June in here. So what I have to ask her, you have to ask the payroll lady, when do you need this deduction spreadsheet by? Because everybody look at their calendar and their phone. And let's use everybody look at the 2023 calendar. Let's use October for an example, because this is a really good example. Okay, let's say you have open enrollment the month of September. When do deductions start? October, okay?
Yeah.
When is the 1st of October? Right. Let's say they are billed semi-monthly and their deductions need to start the 1st and the 5th, like deductions happen the 1st and the 15th. If you give them deductions on the 2nd, have you missed that deduction? Yes. So now that's going to cause billing issues, guys. Or let's say you get them on the 29th because, hey, open enrollment's the whole month of October. Still, that's going to be too late for her to enter in those deductions. You have to have this conversation with her or him. I say her. It's never always a woman. How dare I? Men can do that job too.
I can do it.
Okay. So that's a good example. Okay. So you guys are understanding what I'm trying to say. So you have to ask them, when do you need those deduction by? Because in this case, she might say, hey, I have to have them by the 25th.
Mhm.
So you better write that. So what I do is I write it at the top of this. What comes next for them? I write by October or by September 25th.
Mhm.
So that's telling me I have to have this spreadsheet. And then what I personally do, guys, to keep myself organized, I make a Google Calendar event saying, get deduction spreadsheet to Sally for ABC Roofing Company by this date. And then what else I do is I send an email to myself and I send it
Mhm.
for like October 15th saying, you know, like, hey, get this like as much as you, because you do not want to forget that, right? That's part of our job. Okay. So by October 25th, you write that in there. And then you want to say, what email do you want me to send this to? And I get that on a new closed case, you might have wrote down their email address on the section 125. But let's say that that was the owner, right? Now you're sitting with a parent, you got to know who you're sending that spreadsheet to. So ask them that. Okay, so you go over this top part and then Sally, when do you need your this deduction spreadsheet by? Perfect, October 25th. What email do you want me to send it to? Write that at the top. Okay. So now you went over that. All right. And then here's what you can expect from us. Our quality manager, if you look at the form, I'm just reading it. Okay. Amanda A will reach out to you in the course of the coming weeks to see what questions you have and how we can help. She's just going to make sure I got you the spreadsheet, that you had no problems entering in those deductions. She's going to touch base with you. She just helps us out. She's fantastic, great communicator. So if you ever need anything, reach out to us or to her. And then number 2, our representatives have discussed, and each employee has initialed the payroll authorization agreement, acknowledging that they understand that they benefit from these policies for the entire plan year. So basically, I'm going to summarize it for you guys. Okay, you can just read it to her. But what this is saying is, because these are Section 125 pre-tax benefits, the employee stays enrolled in the program the whole year unless they have a qualified status change. It's exactly like health insurance, right? So you're sitting out, she already knows that, but just say, you're just reminding her. So you're telling her, if an employee comes to you, hey, $17 out of my paycheck, I can't afford that anymore, I need to cancel, right? She's not just going to cancel it. She's going to say, well, you know, unfortunately, this is like health insurance. You have to stay enrolled in the program the whole year. You signed a document saying that you understand that. Okay. Now, number 3, if you look at the form, should an employee request a change in their policies during the plan year, please contact me. I'm your guys' representative. And write your cell phone number here and I'll go over that with you. Referring requests to me as your representative really makes your job a lot easier and benefits you in 3 ways. One is less stress, you know, because you don't need to answer questions about these policies. That's what I'm here for. Okay. And then plus, like if an employee does want to cancel or has an issue with the deductions or whatever, let me answer those for you. Just anything that refers to these benefits. Again, that's what I'm here for. Refer them to me. I'll take care of it for you. And then compliance. Our goal is to make sure that you guys stay in compliance with Section 125 and all the guidelines with Section 125. I'm going to take care of that for you. Okay. And then you just have to have them sign the payroll administrator signature line. Okay. And then you fill out the bottom. Okay. White copy. You give the white copy to the payroll lady. Yellow copy, I mean canary, the canary copy. Canary goes with you. But what's nice about it, guys, is like at the top, because you wrote like when they need the deduction spreadsheet by, what email address. So if I'm doing my deduction spreadsheet, it's nice because like this is in my folder with my payroll authorization, so I can create it, easily email it, schedule send it, or whatever you need to do. Okay.
So you're saying, unlike payroll authorization where Canary goes to the business, White goes to Globe Life. White for this goes to the business, Canary goes to Globe Life.
Yes. Yep. Okay. Because you want her to keep, hold on to these dates. And then what I like to do is give her the white copy, and I give her another, or him or whoever, another business card. Okay. So she has it. And then sometimes you might, if it's a new franchise, give her like 2 or 3 cards, be like, here's a couple extra cards in case one of your employees. But I also tell her, like, I gave every single one of your employees my card, but just in case, somebody needs one. But again, sit down meeting, go over this form entirely. Okay. Let's say that it's this is a one-off situation. Okay. Because this will happen. You just closed a business, you go enroll, payroll lady leaves for the day. Okay. You have to go back and have this conversation with the payroll lady, because again, just because you wrote policies doesn't mean that those deductions are going to happen and they'll ever make it to Liberty National. This button up piece has to happen for you to keep your quality. And the better quality you guys have, home office incentivizes us, you get bonus multipliers. You can make an extra 30% on your bonus just by making sure you are self-disciplined and doing this every single time. Okay. So that's the what comes next form. Now we're not done with the meeting. Okay. That's just the first form. Second thing is the client feedback. Okay. And I'm going to role play this. Like, I'm going to give you all the notes, and then I'm going to kind of role play the conversation from start to finish so you can hear it. Okay. Client feedback form. This is the next thing. I will be honest. The whole purpose of this, really, for me, like, my motivation is business referrals, guys. That's like my motivation in doing this. And what's nice about this client feedback form is not only does it initiate the conversation to get referrals like verbally right then and there, but I have also, like, I've had businesses where they've told me business referrals, and then they actually email this to me, and I check the bottom and they give me a couple more. Now, does that happen all the time? No, but my goodness, if it happens once every 3 or 4 or 5 times you do it, I mean, even if you get one business, that's an extra closed case here or there for you, right? So makes your job easier. So here's the transition. Now, the second thing I'm going to go over is just this client feedback form. Our goal is to, again, make this as easy as possible for you. This is just giving us feedback on like what you liked about the enrollment, any feedback you had, like if there's anything else that we could do better. I'm just going to give this to you whenever you have some free time. If you could fill this out, and just send it back to me. And then just one thing I'd like to point out at the bottom here, you'll see a huge part of what we do is word of mouth. We don't do a lot of marketing and advertising. And to be honest, like, I got out of here pretty early, or let's pretend it's late. Okay. Like I know I'm done in this area today, but I'll actually be back all day tomorrow, just introducing myself to a lot of businesses in the area. This is just helping me, like, anybody that you think I should just go introduce myself to, that you think would see value in these benefits. Is there anybody that you would recommend that I go introduce myself to? And then keep your mouth shut. And if that relationship is good, guys, what you'll see, and it's awesome, you'll see the body language, and you'll see them go like this, or you'll see them like sit back in their chair. Well, hold on, let me think for a second. And then if they're ever like, well, I can't really think of anybody. Well, what about your neighbors? Like, do you know who the business owner is next door? And then you'll start to give them ideas. And then they'll be like, yeah, you should go talk to Roger next door at ABC company. Yeah, just, tell them that we sent you from over here. And I've literally had business owners sit there and mentally drive me through the town, being like, okay, that's a family owned business. Now this one's not. And this one is. Right. So just by you having that conversation, and then what you do, okay, when they start verbally telling you referrals, and you just really set this form in front of their face, just like that, because they're not actually filling it out right then and there, but now you've initiated that referral conversation. And I just looked down at my phone. I'm like, actually, let me take some notes. Now, what I personally do is I open up my email. In the subject line, I type business referrals. And then in my email, I start saying, ABC Roofing is referring me to, Tammy at ABC Roofing is referring me to, ... And then I start listing what she says. XYZ company, AB company, C company, and who the business owners are. And then it's in an email form. I send it BR139. So I get the credit for the business referrals and I copy myself. So now it's going to pop up in my emails. I have those all logged there. Okay. But if you're just sitting there and like they're giving you like 5 names, you're not going to remember them all. It's okay to be like, hey, let me take a couple notes. And usually when they start, if they start listing, okay, a trick just to add more, okay, is you say, okay, once you get a couple, then be like, okay, and who's next? 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 And you're going to keep saying who's next, who's next, who's next until they are literally like tapped out. Okay. But don't break that cycle, because once you're like, okay, that's pretty good. And then they'll be like, okay, I gave you enough. When, I mean, shoot, if they've been business owners there for 30 years, they might keep going and going and going and going and going. And like, hey, there you go. Helps you with pack calls, all those kind of things. Those you just got to type in qualified leads, super easy. Okay. So that's the importance of this client feedback form. Okay. So, and then let's say I get a whole bunch, okay, here. Or if let's say, they're like, well, I really just don't know anybody here, yeah, you can go next door and you just get one, that's fine. And be like, okay, no problem. If you think of any others, when you return this form back to me, you can just list them down here. So again, like you're prefacing, like, take some time to think about it. Okay. I even had one business that like the payroll lady gave me referrals. And then when I got this back at the bottom, it said like the business owner's name was Ron, and it said, Ron's referring you to, because she had like a conversation like, oh, who should we send her to? Blah, blah, blah. Right. That's all bonus for you. So super important if you use this to your advantage. Okay. Any questions on that? Welcome. Okay, so we went over the what comes next, client feedback form. The last piece is this blue book, okay? So the last thing, Sally, is this is your section 125 binder that I'm just gonna leave with you. Just keep it for your records. Basically, it's your proof that these benefits are meant to be ran pre-tax. We have pre-tax policies. You can just hold on to it. It has all the information that you need. If you open this up, okay, there is a trifold brochure for online billing. Okay, this is your opportunity where you can be like, just kind of tell her what to expect with the billing. Their first bill will always be a paper bill, but I will tell you, you want to get your people on online billing because the mail is slow. And I will tell you, all the franchises that are only on the mailer invoices, slowly but surely one day they will have issues where they won't get an invoice in the mail, and then they get behind, and then that's more time for you to have to track it down and all this kind of stuff. Okay. So basically just tell the Sally, be like, okay, the first invoice you're going to get, because you're going to make those deductions in June. That first bill is going to be in July. That first invoice is going to come as a paper invoice. And this is an important conversation to have with her. That paper invoice should match exactly what you have deducted for payroll deduction. If it doesn't, call me right away. I will fix it for you. You have to like say that, because again, our job is to make her job as easy as possible. If you don't tell her that, guess what happens when she's already not a fan of ours because we put more work to make her do these deductions, and she was the one that was against it all along, and here we are, and then she makes all these deductions, the invoice comes and it's off. She's going to use it as ammo to kick us out. Okay, just telling you how that works sometimes. So just have that conversation. And what I like to say is, I'm like, communication is huge. Just communicate with me. I have a lot of experience. I'll help you out. If the invoice does not match your deductions, we'll fix it. I'll drill down and I'll figure out, it should. But I'm just saying, worst case scenario, if it doesn't, this first invoice, just let me know. I'll help you out with it. Okay, sound good? She'll be like, oh yeah, I really appreciate that. Okay, but the first invoice is going to be a paper invoice. This is information on our online billing. once you get that first invoice, if you want to make it easier and sign up for online billing, it's super easy. Just open up this trifold, and there's a 1-800 number. Just call them and they'll get you registered. Okay, it's pretty easy. They'll call, home office will send them a link, they'll register, and then boom, they're on online billing. And then they can pull up their invoices whenever they want, pay it whenever they want. It's super easy, okay? So I just like to emphasize that. And then this form here, or this next page, just says the business name, their franchise number, when their open enrollment is. And to be honest, you don't necessarily have to go over this in detail. I'm just letting you guys know what's in here. The main thing is just that online billing, okay? And then I just let her know in the back of here, I have those physical copies of the signed payroll authorizations. I'm going to leave these with you from today, but I'm going to create you a deduction spreadsheet. It's going to be super easy. So you don't have to enter in the deductions from these payroll author. This is just hard copies for you to keep in your binder, but I'm going to actually email you a deduction spreadsheet. So that way you can just take a look at it and enter in those deductions, pre-tax and post-tax. It'll make it super easy for you, but I'll make sure I get it to you by October 20th or September 25th. Okay. Sound good? And then she'll be like, okay. And then you can sit there and either build a little bit more rapport or, you know, whatever. But the whole goal of that meeting is relationships good. She now sees that you're there to help her, not make her job worse or harder. Okay, because sometimes you're going to get some cranky bookkeepers. I'm kind of telling you the worst case scenario. Don't feed off that energy. Let her feed off of your influence, right? Have positive, healthy, happy influence, and she'll turn around. She might be protective mama bear for the, you know, for the business. You know, don't like just, you guys have already signed paperwork. The enrollment already happened. Like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, but just, you know, build that relationship. And when you do that, when they love you as a representative, they'll go to bat for you. You know, they'll actually, when you come back for open enrollment, they'll be like, no, you need to talk to Amanda. You need to go see her. You know, like you need life insurance anyway. Go talk to her, you know, and then you have your cheerleaders. So that's all of that is part of like when this meeting goes well, it's all planting those seeds so that's successful for you. Okay. Okay. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to run through it from top to, you know, kind of how that should go. Okay. So you guys, because I kind of chopped it up. And to be honest, the whole meeting should last 10 minutes, 15 minutes max. And that's with even decent rapport. Build rapport for 5 minutes, go into the what comes next, client feedback form, blue book, build a little bit more rapport. Super simple, easy, and then you're out of there. But like the likability is there, trust is there, and you know, you don't have to sit there for an hour is the point I'm trying to make. Okay. So let's pretend Sally Sue is my bookkeeper. Like, hey, Sally, the enrollment's all done. Do you have a couple minutes? I just wanted to touch base with you before I headed out. Oh yeah, come on in. Wow, you have such a good group. Like you guys have a good family, like working environment here. You know, I loved seeing how, you know, Matt and Sarah are both married and they work here, you know, and Bob's daughter works here. I got to meet her today. So, how did you start working here? How long have you worked here? You know, blah, 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 rapport, right? Okay, you're gonna build that rapport. So anyways, I know your time's really valuable, so I'll kind of dig into why I wanted to meet with you for a few minutes because the enrollment's done. It went really, really well. We saw great participation. Your employees were really thankful and saw a lot of value in these benefits. But since I'm gonna leave here, I'm gonna go over this form with you, and it's called the What Comes Next form because I just want to make this as easy as possible for you. And this is what to expect next after I leave here. Okay. So we're in the month of May. This is your open enrollment period is the whole month of May. So if you look here, deductions will begin that first pay period in June. So I have June wrote in there. And then your first bill for this open enrollment won't come until July 1st. Okay. And it's going to come as a paper bill. But I'm going to get you a deduction spreadsheet, which will have all of, you know, what everybody enrolled into today. It will keep it really simple. It'll tell you what's pre-tax and post-tax. And I'm going to email that to you along with a PDF version of the signed payroll authorizations from the employees. And when do you need that spreadsheet by? I know you guys are weekly and, we need to make sure those deductions make it onto that first pay period in June. And you guys are paid on Fridays, right? So this is a good example. Okay, so Friday, June 2nd would be the first time those deductions would start. When do you need that deduction spreadsheet by? Well, Amanda, if you get it to me by the 26th or the 30th, like I'll input them by that Tuesday, as long as you get it to me by that. So that's another good example. I have to have it done before the 1st. So I'm gonna write, okay, no problem. I'll have it done for you by the 30th. So by May 30th, I'm gonna write that down. And then what email, Sally, do you want me to send that spreadsheet and the signed payroll authorizations to? Oh, Sally at ABC Roofing. Okay, let me write that in here. Okay, perfect. So here's what to expect more from us. Our agency's quality manager, her name's Amanda. She's Amanda A, I'm Amanda B. She's wonderful. She's gonna reach out to you to make sure I got this spreadsheet to you and that you didn't have any issues entering in those deductions for your employees. So just expect a call from her, okay? And then this second part, all of your employees understand that these benefits are ran through Section 125. And on the signed payroll authorization, they initialed and signed, understanding that they do stay enrolled in the program the entire year unless they have a qualified status change. And it's all listed right here in this big, big paragraph. This is just like health insurance. And then usually they're like, yes, okay, I understand, okay? But let's say you have an employee that wants to make a change or ever has any questions, just have them reach out to me here, and I'm gonna put my name and cell phone number on here. And that benefits you in 3 ways. Like, again, my job is to make your job as easy as possible. It's less stress on you. You don't have to answer questions about their policies. You don't have to dig into what kind of coverage they have. All of those things, just refer them to me. I'll answer those for you. And then it helps also to keep you in compliance with Section 125. So I just need a quick signature down here, just making sure I went over that with you and have them sign. And then you fill out that bottom. And then Sally, I'm gonna leave this white copy for you, so I'm gonna get that spreadsheet to you by, again, May 30th, okay? So that's for you, and then I'm gonna keep that yellow copy. And then the next form I'm gonna give you is this client feedback form. Again, our job is to make your job as easy as possible, and we wanna make this open enrollment. This is all supposed to be beneficial for everybody. This just gives us some feedback. So if you don't mind, you don't have to fill it out now, but if you don't mind filling it out at some point, emailing it back to me, letting me know, what went well with the enrollment, any feedback, if you'd like, us to do something different in the future or whatnot, if you could just fill that and give us some feedback, I greatly appreciate it. And then down at the bottom here, word of mouth is huge to what we do. And to be honest, I have a couple hours. I'm going to just be staying around the city here, introducing myself to some other businesses. Do you recommend any businesses I should go introduce myself to today? And actually, my favorite my favorite businesses are businesses that are family owned or like blue collar businesses just like you. Do you happen to know any of the businesses in this area that you could recommend that I introduce myself to? Okay, here. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Let me just make a quick note of those. Okay, who's next? Who's next? Who's next? Who's next? Awesome. Thank you so much for those. And if you think of any other ones, just you can fill them in when you send this back to me. Okay, so that's for you. So you're giving them the white copy of the what comes next client feedback form. And the last thing, Sally, is this is your Section 125 binder. Okay. I'm going to leave this with you. This is yours. In the back, I put the signed yellow copies of the signed payroll authorizations for your employees. But don't forget, I'm going to make your job easier. You don't have to make this the deductions from these forms. This is just for your records. I'm actually going to email you a spreadsheet. Okay. But in this binder, it's just proof that you do have a Section 125 plan. Just, keep it in your files. So if you ever need it, that's what's in here. But the other thing that's in here is this is a brochure for our online billing. This first invoice that you're going to get in July, that July 1st invoice is going to be a paper invoice. It's going to be mailed right here. And again, Sally, I know you wear a lot of hats here. I know you're a busy lady, but again, my job is to make your job as easy as possible. That invoice should match perfectly. Exactly what you have deducted for the employees is exactly what that invoice should read. If you see any discrepancies, please reach out to me. That's what I'm here for. I always say communication is huge. If you could just communicate with me, I can fix it. So if something pops up and employee's no longer here, something's off, whatever, I'll fix that for you. Okay. Sound good? But it's going to come as a paper invoice. Again, it should match. So just communicate with me if it doesn't. But if you happen to want to get signed up for online billing, as soon as you get that first invoice on July 1st, go ahead and call this 1-800 number and they will email you a link to get registered for our online billing, and it's going to make it a lot easier. You can just pay it online. You can pay it whatever it's convenient for you. You don't have to wait for those invoices in the mail. Okay. If they're like, side note, okay, if they're like, well, I'm a municipality and we have to cut checks and I have to have the board sign it and to send it off, be like, that's fine. You could still sign up for online billing because you can print them. The purpose of online billing is just that you have those invoices on hand whenever you need it. And you can kind of see your pay history and you can kind of reconcile on there if you want. So, I mean, by all means, you can still print. Oh, okay. Just kind of side note on that. Okay. But the point is you want to try to get them signed up for this and just tell them about it. Okay. But that's for you, Sally. And then, yeah, just whenever you can send back that client feedback form, but that's pretty much it. You've got a great group. I really enjoyed meeting with everybody. You really won't hear from me until probably the end of the month. If I have any questions, I'll reach out, but I'll create that spreadsheet and you'll see that email and I'll have not only that deduction spreadsheet, but I'll have a PDF of all those signed payer authorizations for you. But other than that, you're all set. Okay. Okay, great. Have a great weekend. Okay. And that's it. But it's a sit down meeting. Okay.
Do you mention, and after that, like I'll reach out to you in 6 months from now to see if you want to file claims, set up a mid-year and anything else?
Not a bad idea. Okay. I didn't go over that, but Danielle brought up a perfect point. During that conversation, you can start talking about the next open enrollment, which would be your mid-year. And if it's a new franchise, so yes, I like that you brought that up. Because not all the employees are going to be eligible. When you have a new franchise, there's usually at least a 6 months, they have to be. So let's say you have 3 employees, use those as an example. Be like, we saw great participation, but these last 3, Mark, Brandon, and Jamie, obviously they just started a couple weeks ago. They're going to be eligible here once they're here 6 months. So I'm going to reach out to you probably open up your calendar, 6 months from now. Let's see, this is May. 1, 2, 3, 4. So either September or October, I'll reach out to you because now they'll become eligible and I'll make sure that they have, access to these benefits too. Okay. Sound good? Boom. Okay. Not a bad idea is if it's your case, guys, remember we're talking about a new closed case. You can go ahead and book a mid-year right then and there because we do that too. So if you already know you have 4 employees or 3 employees or whatever, be like, if it's okay, they're going to become eligible the month of October. So I just want to make sure that there's time in the calendar where I can come by and just meet with your new people. If it's just Brandy, Jamie, and Sam, great. I can just meet with those 3. But if you hire some other people in the meantime, we could try to get them added on there as well. If you don't mind looking at your date in October, when's a good date that I can come meet with them? And then just put it in your schedule and you don't have to worry about calling them back. So you can do that too. Okay. All right. But that's pretty much it. Anything you want to add, Diana?
No, I liked the way that you went through each of the forms and had a conversation with the bookkeeper because guys, you can't just email the deduction spreadsheet and expect them to know how to do it. But I know that Amanda said that you really can't just trust that they know. And it's on you to make sure that happens. We've had quite a few, at least on my team lately, that have not paid their bill. We had that issue. So that does cause a lot of issues for month over month. Gotta establish the expectation right off the gate.
So I guess what I want to add, if you want to make your job easy, okay, and if you want to make that you have high persistency, which means that the deductions happen and they get sent to Liberty National and you have high quality, this is a proactive meeting that has to happen. So I'm just going to give you the worst case. We have had representatives get lazy with this, okay, because it's easy to get lazy with it, and it might not be, it just might be unorganization. It might just be forgetfulness. It might be whatever it is. You know, you might have the meeting, but if you forget to get them that spreadsheet, if she needs it by the 30th, you can't wait till the 1st. She has to have it by the 30th. Because again, the moment that you get those things late, and these are your accounts, these are your babies. Look at all the hard work from the pack call to the getting in front of them, to the presentation, to getting the section 125 signed, setting up the enrollment, meeting all the employees, enrolling all the employees. If you don't button it up, you know, and do this part good, you know, this is that proactive thing to keep everything in line to make sure that it runs smoothly. Okay. But it's awesome. Like, I love these meetings because I'm like, cool, I'm going to make her my best friend. Like, she's going to love me. And if you do that, and this is smooth for her, guys, like when you come back, she'll have referrals for you. You know, I've had franchises because I have this meeting and I've said, hey, communication is huge. Like, my job is to make your job easier. And I've worked through billing issues with them. I've literally had franchises who have kicked Aflac out and kept us because I was able to fix things and I communicated well. And when they called me, I called them back. If they emailed me, I emailed them back. If they had an issue, I fixed it and I made sure I followed up to fix it. Like, all of that stuff, it's easy to get, I hate to say it, but it's easy to not care about that stuff or see it as a priority. And then, but it's all about representation. Like, we're representing that business. So for me, I'm like, if I can fix this, if I can make her my best friend, she's my cheerleader. So like, underlying motivation of like, if I can make sure all this stuff stays smooth with the bookkeeper, they'll keep us around, they'll refer me. Like, it's just going to create opportunity in the future, even if it's more work, right? If it's more work to, you know, get back to emails or fix billing issues or whatever the case may be. But this is your business. This is your baby. Like, if you care about your name, like when I know accounts have Amanda Beiersdorf as their business card and I'm their contact, like, I know I'm going to take care of them. And it makes me busy. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, there are days where I'm like, I got billing issues and it sucks. But all this stuff, this proactive stuff, it helps prevent those things. But also, like, by having that conversation, billing issues are going to happen. Like, hiccups are going to happen. The world is not perfect. We are not perfect. We try to be, we strive for it, right? Like, you try to get better, but all of this stuff, like, it's your name. You're their account. Like once you start letting things slip through the cracks, you're not getting back to people, or time management. And again, that's the stuff we don't really train on. Like, your own organization, as far as your Google Calendar, emailing yourself, schedule sending stuff to yourself, having a notebook of a to-do list, you know, like keeping track of stuff. If you do it from the beginning and you get into good habits, guys, then when you have 10 accounts, 20 accounts, 50 accounts, 100 accounts, you know, like hundreds of accounts, you're only going to have issues with a couple of them, but it'll streamline and make it a lot smoother if that process is smooth, if that makes any sense. Because think big. Like, we're in this industry to create large renewals for yourself, right? And the reason we're paid renewals, guys, is for customer service. Like, yes, we work really hard, and yes, like, we get compensated very, very well, especially as you grow your accounts and you really start mastering this business. Like, very lucrative, the life insurance business, like, very, very wealthy. It's a way to build wealth over time for yourself, but it's not just money that's given to you. Like, why would be a percentage of that employee's premium get paid to you every single month? Why would that get paid back to you? For customer service. Because it's not like if one of your policyholders calls you and they need to make a claim, it's your job to make sure that that's communicated with them and goes smooth and gets done. And there's not a lot of work with that, guys. It's just, you know, directing them the right way, directing them to the website, directing them to Deanne, directing them to the quick claims process, you know, like, just making it easy. But you're getting paid to do that. First, and for me, when I get calls for claims, I'm like, again, this is like underlying motivation. Not only, of course, I love helping people, but also you got to think layers to it. Is if I can get that claim to pay out, guess what they're going to do to all their coworkers? So I'm like, and it's really awful when you get those phone calls, somebody's diagnosed with cancer. Like, of course, I feel for them. I've cried with people on the phone. Am I thrilled that they have a policy that I know is going to help them with their financial situation? Absolutely. That's all upside, right? But at the same time, if that claim goes well, they get paid and it goes smoothly, they're going to be like, Liberty National pays, Aflac does it. Like you want Liberty National, and like that's happened at franchises, and you go back to re-enrollments, and it's not true where re-enrollments dwindle with AP over time. That is not true. Like if you think that, because it has been something that's like been said, you know, like, oh, that first open enrollment's going to be like the best open enrollment, and then the next time you go back, you might write half of that, and the next time you go back, you'll write half of that. That's not necessarily true. Does it happen sometimes? Sure. But a lot of times you go to an enrollment and they might be on edge and not trust you yet. And you give them the information, you have a smile on your face, you make it very welcoming and excited, and you make the bookkeeper like you, and you plant those seeds. And this is for you guys, like even your new closed cases, if they don't produce 10 grand or 5 grand or whatever you probably had your hopes up, you know, don't think that's a waste of your time, because many cases have I gone back for the re-enrollment and it's been twice as good as the original, because now they're like, because I do remember people. So I'll be like, oh yeah, I remember. Like, for example, the enrollment I was at yesterday, one of my own personal closed cases, is the 3rd year I enrolled it. I was sitting down with a gentleman, and I remembered when I was there, like his dad had passed away 2 years ago. And I was like, and I'm so sorry. I remember sitting with you, you know, and your dad had just passed away. And he goes, oh yeah, wow, you have a really good memory, and blah, 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 blah. And all of a sudden that trust is there. And then you can, and that's what it's all about, is when, and just put yourself in those employees, you know, situation. They want to deal with somebody they trust and like, and knows going to take care of them. And that's what gives us a good name, right? So you want to just make sure. And so I say all of that is like, again, if an enrollment doesn't go as planned, like still button it up. Hey, well, great feedback from your employees. They saw a lot of value in this. Like, I'm excited to meet your group again in 6 months or next year, and all these things. You know, keep a smile on your face, because you go back and you can write more and more and more. You get a claim, all of a sudden that accident claim goes really, really well and smooth sailing. Like I had a case, a family of 4 got in a car accident and it paid the $500 for all 4. So he got a $2,000 check for a fender bender, basically. And man, he was happy. It was easy. It was quick claims, direct deposited in his bank account. I came back to that open enrollment the next year. Everybody wanted that accident plan, right? Just stuff like that. So, you know, we just got to create that good customer service. And I feel like we don't talk about it enough, but all this stuff is tied to it. Okay. All right. That's all I got. Anything else you want to add? No? Okay.
Just reiterating, like, if you guys don't know